thanks a lot for doing this. I really appreciate it.
It's no
For-
problem.
For people listening and watching, can you introduce yourself to everybody, please?
My name is Brandon Evans. I am the owner of Direct Leaf Distribution and Mitra Fresh Botanicals, which are both Kratom companies. And we're here in Las Vegas, where we do everything.
Awesome. What inspired you to start a Kratom business?
Well, been a long journey, but over a decade ago, I worked for Verizon. At the time, I was doing a lot of their tech work and labor, and at that point, I already had a bad back. I had bad knees, and it was around that time frame in the country when I was working over in Pittsburgh, West Virginia area, and you could see people starting to get addicted to opioids. And I had friends coming in, and they'd go to a doctor, and the doctor would give them a pill bottle this big of Vicodin. And it worked for a little while, and everyone was happy because their knees stopped hurting. They didn't have to be in pain anymore. But you seen it coming, where you can't do this long term. This isn't good for you. So that kind of, I've always been a fan of nature and natural remedies. So I kind of started scouring the world for what's out there. What could be better than what we're told here in this country is good for us. And my buddy and I landed on Kratom. We took it and we were like, wow, what a coincidence. Like an hour later, my neck stops hurting. I got 3 vertebrae that are bad and they don't hurt. So that's kind of where that started, was we were using it while we were working, and nobody knew what it was back then. So that was kind of the beginning for me, is nobody knows what this is. We should really get out there and let people know this exists.
So you're looking for an alternative to Western medicine?
Yeah, if either an alternative or at least an addition, something that could help take away from what, because let's be honest, that's what they do at this point, is you walk into a doctor's office and you walk out with 6 prescriptions. And they tell you it's perfectly good, it's perfectly safe, until you have a friend who ODs or dies or has a heart attack. And then you realize there's a laundry list of side effects they don't tell you about. And you go, oh, okay. The doctors don't even know about these side effects because they're just listening to the pharmaceutical company. And the pharmaceutical company is willing to just throw all that stuff under the rug until they can't anymore. And with a product like Kratom, it's a plant. You know what you're getting. You're getting a leaf that got picked off a tree, and that's it.
Where do you source your Kratom from?
So all of our Kratom comes from Indonesia. We actually work with 3 or 4 farms out there, so we know exactly where it's coming from. They take care of the whole process over there and then export it out of Indonesia, and we import it into the U.S.
What challenges have you faced in running a Kratom business?
Here in the United States, I would say the biggest challenge is just the unwillingness of the best name would be the machine, the government and all the organizations under them don't like whenever you find something better that they don't agree with. So you've got the government at any given time trying to ban it, whether that's via the FDA, whether that's the DEA, or state by state. So you've got to keep up on regulation, which doesn't exist right now. We're in the gray market. And kind of you get gray market feedback. There's a secondary issue out there would be there's a lot of companies doing this. Most of them aren't doing it correct, which gives this entire industry a bad look. Whenever they're trying to market their products as better and stronger, and they're not doing the back end work to make sure it's safer and reliable. So, yeah, I'd say between the market itself and the government, those two are kind of the biggest setbacks right now. That's got us chained down.
Having said that, how do you ensure the quality and safety of your products?
So being able to control the entire operation from A to Z helps. When we first started, we were kind of relying on a lot of third parties, which, like I said, some of them are really good people. We still have relationships with them, but just to verify everything on our end, it just makes more sense. We know what farms it's coming from. We know what processor, who's boxing it. We know once it gets to the States, it comes directly to us. Once it gets here, we send it out, samples out to third-party labs. So the laboratories test it for potency, heavy metals, microbials, all the things that are important if you're going to consume something. And once it comes back clean, then it goes to our facility where we package it or encapsulize it or turn it into whatever. And all of that also gets done in a clean room environment. So we follow step-by-step GMP, good manufacturing procedures. We follow FDA regulations, even though we don't have to. More lab testing to verify nothing's being contaminated within our facilities. And then by the time the product is finished, it's sent out with lot codes on it and QR codes to verify what product it is, what batch it is. The lab tests are attached to it. So these are a lot of the things that other people either aren't doing or unwilling to do, at least.
You said that you follow FDA guidelines even though you don't need to. How do you handle the regulatory landscape surrounding Kratom?
So the best thing that can happen to this industry is regulation. So, instead of jumping off the bridge like they want to do, which is sometimes how they work, it's, let's just ban it. It doesn't need banned. It helps a lot of people. It needs regulated, a real regulation. Sat down and more companies to do what we do, to verify what you're getting is a clean product. So when you go into the store, whether it's a smoke shop or whether you're buying it online, you can tell where it came from and what procedures were done to make sure that it's safe. We're starting to see that now. We're seeing regulation in Indonesia, which is good. It's making sure only clean product leaves that country. And I think slowly but surely we're starting to get feedback here in this country of real regulation that makes sense as well. Organizations like the American Kratom Association have been lobbying for Kratom for a long time. They do a lot of good work with sitting down with legislators and states to inform them properly on what the product is, how it helps, and what they can do. Now states can sign what's called the Kratom Consumer Protection Act. That's kind of just their way of saying, we won't ban it in our state. We just want to make sure it's a good product.
What misconceptions do people have about Kratom?
Well, there's a lot of them out there. I mean, unfortunately, if somebody gets online and just Googles Kratom, you've got a lot of what I call hit pieces from newspapers that have no idea what it is. It's kind of been out there that it's, I've heard it called synthetic heroin. I mean, it's not synthetic. It's blatantly not heroin. Like, it's a plant. And I think once you get by those initial issues, people get on and they see 400 people have died from kratom. Except for when you dig into those, none of them have. There's been times where they consider them kratom deaths, and it was because somebody got shot. But on their report, it's a kratom death. Whether that's coming from upstairs, in the FDA to try to make their point, I don't know. That's above my pay grade. But I think that it's rough, but we're in the area now where we're seeing real feedback and people realize that everything they see on the internet isn't true anymore, which is nice because for the longest time we used to just get hit pieces sent to us that says you can see that this is terrible, this stuff is like opioids. But now people go, okay, cool, they lied to us about COVID, they lied to us about everything, they're lying to us about this as well.
Yeah, that's what comes to mind is COVID.
Yeah, and I think that's what opened most people's eyes up. Now we're back. I think we're back to a time where people are starting to do their own research. For a long time, we just kind of said, okay, this is what we are told. It must be true. And now people are going, okay, that we can't rely on what they say. We have to look for ourselves.
What types of people usually buy kratom, and what do they use it for?
It's a very broad spectrum, to be honest. Our clientele list, customers from the very beginning. I started this business about a decade ago on the other side of the country in Pittsburgh. At the time, the majority of people were just people trying to get off of hard drugs. They were either addicts or they were, had issues, or they even wanted just to get off of standard stuff. Like I said earlier, hey, my doctor's giving me all these pills. I don't want to be on these. That kind of was the start. Everybody realized that this product can help you wean off of other things. Since then, it's kind of spread out. It's more widespread than it ever has been before. I see it used for everything from standard relief, to elderly people that also just want relief in their life. Different mental and physical issues that they find just helps them either sleep or helps them get a little energy throughout the day. So it's kind of a very broad plant. There's multiple alkaloids in it that, depending on the potency of each alkaloid, can really give you different effects based on the chemistry of that plant.
How do you educate people on what dosage of kratom to take? Do you offer that, or is there somewhere they can go online?
Doing your own research online helps. You can go to the American Kratom Association. It kind of gives some. It doesn't give dosage, but it does help get you to where. So as a consumer and advocate, I love to tell people this is where you start. Start small, work your way up, see where you need to be. As an owner in a company that has no direct regulation yet, it's hard because we can't put on the bottles or the bags, take this much, take that much, or here's the desired effect at this level, because we're not allowed. We're kind of in the Wild West where we want to tell people, be safe, only do this. But if we do, will get in trouble. But there are a lot of advocacy groups out there, either on YouTube or Reddit or whatever, all over the internet that do, even Facebook, where people get together and say, this is what I take, this is how much, this is what works for me for this condition. And I think that's probably your best bet, is listening to others that have experience.
What's been the most rewarding part of owning a Kratom business?
For me, it started out as just rewarding for me because I knew I was doing something natural, something that helped me, help my family. I've always wanted a business. I've had a couple businesses in the past, but this one really stuck. I love this one the most. And then being able to get out there, like I said earlier, and see people's lives change. I've seen men in their 40s go, I've been addicted for a long time. I don't want to be this person anymore. I'm willing to give it a try. And then 6 months later, they come back and say, hey, I've been clean for 6 months. I've got custody of my kids again. This is awesome. Like, I never thought I'd get here. So that, or seeing, even as simple as seeing people out exercising again. I couldn't exercise because my knees were bad. This helps me get back out there and be healthy.
If you could give advice to yourself when you first started, or someone that is wanting to start a business in a niche market like this, what would you tell them, or what would you tell yourself?
If I could talk to myself a decade ago, I would have said, jump in sooner. It's tough as a business owner. It was tough then, when you have a 40-hour job and a family and you make decent money, to really make that jump to, I know I'm getting paid this week, to who knows what's going to happen. I could get paid, I could do well, or I could hit rock bottom. Business is hard. Anybody that wants to get into this industry or any industry, it's just, don't expect to go home at 4 p.m. There's no clock out. There's no clock in, clock out. There's been days where I started at 7 a.m. and got home at midnight. But if you love what you do, that's for sure worth it in the end. Now I have way more time. I spend more time with my kids. It was worth the hard work at the beginning to get where we're at now.
Hard work does pay off, it seems.
That's what everyone says.
Do you have any products or services coming up that you're excited about?
I'm personally excited about everything we do. We're always working with new brands to try to get new innovative products out there. As simple as just the classics, which are powders and capsules. New market stuff is a lot with extracts, so we've been doing a lot with companies on extraction and making different formulas to get a better product that tastes better out on the market at a reasonable price so everybody can afford it. And that's kind of what we're doing now, and it's nice working with new clientele that has new ideas that we can bring to life. Same with all of the other products in our lineup. We're always looking to make it a better product and get it to the end client, the customers, the people, at a better price.
What are the ways that people do take Kratom? Is it a pill form or a powder?
Yeah, so it starts out as a leaf, for hundreds, if not thousands of years in Southeast Asia, they would just pick it from the tree while they were working and chew on it. That kind of has been spun into the leaves being dried up and turned into powder. The original people that have been around for a long time, like myself, that's kind of what we did. Either it was just powder format, whether you were putting it in some orange juice and mixing it up, or just straight taking it with some water. From that point, it started getting capsulized, so it was a little easier to take around with you. Some people don't care to eat dirt, so yeah, it kind of tastes like tea leaf meets dirt. So capsule form, now the sky's kind of the limit. People are making drinks, carbonated drinks, gummies. We've even seen sublingual strips now where you just put it on your tongue and it's supposed to absorb. Once science gets in it, things get pretty cool pretty quick.
Is there just one form of kratom, or is there different leaves that do different things? Because if I remember correctly, you have different products in the kratom line.
Yeah. So technically you end up with the main three. There's what they call red strain, white strain, green strain. All that's kind of the basis off of what people use it for. One might be more relieving, one's more energetic, one's in the middle. You'll see on the market a lot of other stuff, whether it's 500 different names, red dragon, green melee, white Indo. Most of that is just marketing. That started in Indonesia where it grew. Some of these farms are in different areas of the country, so they get different results. But I always tell people just the main three, red, white, and green. If someone's selling 50 strains of red, more than likely they're just blends of red, white, and green.
Do you get different effects by the different doses that you take?
Yeah, so most people's desired effect, to be honest, would be low. A low dose, that you could do multiple times a day depending on what you're using it for. There are some people that need higher. I know people that need 1 gram. I know people that need 8. Depending on what you're looking to do with it. Unfortunately, there is a subset of people in this industry that, they want to take as much as they can because they're not here for the right reasons. They're here to see if they can get messed up or what this product has to offer for their addictive lifestyle. Typically what they find out is not much. You take too much, you'll probably get nauseous and you'll probably just throw up. That's probably it. You're probably not going to feel great for a few hours. You hear stories out there about people able to get high. I personally never have been there. I can't say it's true, not true, but I think small, medium-sized amounts really go a long way.
Great. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Yeah, no problem.
I've learned a lot. Thanks a lot. Real quick, how can people find your products?
You can either find them in smoke shops across the country or online at mitrafresh.com, or there's a new site carrying everything called labtestedkratom.com. That's a collaboration between a lot of companies that, like I said earlier, regulate, do everything properly, and if they show that, they can be on this marketplace and sell their products. So it kind of is a really good place to find a lot of companies that are doing the right thing, and that's direct to consumers, so that can be ordered and mailed out to 45 states.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.